Coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Wednesday morning. What world are we living in where tomorrow night the New York Jets are favored by 6.5 points over the New England Patriots? And with 12 games to go, the New York Mets have a 2-game lead on the Atlanta Braves for a playoff spot. I'll say it again because Boomer just walked in the studio.
I heard it.
What world are we living in?
Yes! Woohoo!
That the New York Jets are a 6.5-point favorite over the New England Patriots, and the New York Mets are 2 games up on a playoff spot over the Atlanta Braves. That's right. Both those things are happening right now. A great night for the Mets. A team meeting. This team loves a team meeting. And this one was called by David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza, and they felt like they needed to speak to the team because of the Lindor injury, which concerns me just a little bit. Maybe they know something that we don't. I don't know, but I'm going to think positively. Then Pete Alonso got up there. He said, screw this. I'm going to take this moment, and I'm going to say something. And he talked about having a gut feeling that this team was going to be in the playoffs. He wanted to celebrate with the boys and all of this stuff. And he also had a good feeling about staying here as a New York Met. But one thing at a time, he did go out and have a big night last night, and the Mets are in the best position they have been yet to get a wild card spot. They're tied with the Diamondbacks and 2 up on the Braves, incredibly enough. And congratulations to Jerry Recco. He got his 83rd win. So, yeah, congratulations, Jerry. He got his $120 that he bet all the way back in March. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, G, and why wouldn't I be? I mean, you got 2 baseball teams that explode last night and for different reasons, and you see different players stepping up now, and all of a sudden we have ourselves a real barn burner, as you will, especially with the Mets, because, you know, being where they are in all of this, and we all know what the future holds. We know what the last 11 games are going to be. I think you got the Phillies, the Braves, and the Brewers. So it's going to be a mad dash push to the end here, and you can't take anything for granted. That's why they have to win these games against the Nationals. They got to sweep them. They got to win today. They got to bank as many wins as they can. And the Phillies always give them trouble, and you just have to beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And it'll be interesting to see how these teams. Obviously that Braves series is going to be enormous. It'd be interesting to see how Milwaukee goes about that end of season series at Milwaukee, given the fact that they're going to make the playoffs. I don't necessarily know how you think about these days off and getting a team out of rhythm and wanting a team to continue to play. And this is maybe why these wild card teams go to the World Series, is because they don't stop playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's been enough evidence there that shows you that these breaks don't work out well. It didn't work out well for the Mets a couple years ago. Well, I guess more than a couple years ago now, 2015, when they ended up sweeping the Cubs. I mean, I mean, we've seen a ton of these. What was the Detroit Tigers back in 2006? When the Mets lost to the Cardinals, the Tigers had swept and got in there, and the Cardinals played the 7-game series and went and beat them right after that. So, I mean, there's examples all over the place of teams that have had time off. I think with the way that the Mets have been playing and how their ass has been in the jackpot for 2 months now.
Just keep playing.
Just keep playing.
Right, exactly. So you never know. I mean, and maybe, I don't know about this Lindor thing, and it's amazing that it has to happen now. Yeah. But I will say, even though there was, it's going to be interesting in the field for Acuna. That's going to be an interesting thing. Like, they're bringing him up in the middle of a pennant race. Think about this for a second.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the right thing to do.
I know.
I'm
not saying it's not the right thing to do. And maybe he was bored at Syracuse. Maybe he didn't like Syracuse. I don't know. Maybe this kid.
Why wouldn't you like Syracuse?
Well, the point being is that maybe this kid just wants to be in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And he wants to be here. And last night, you saw the bat, the quickness, how hard the ball's coming off the bat. I mean, he just looks like a Major League Baseball player. Maybe sometimes guys don't do well in the minor leagues, but they do better up here because they feel like this is their destiny. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's overwhelmed by anything. At least now.
No,
at
I
this
mean,
point.
right, and
It's our real first look at him.
Right, and I also think it is our real first look at him, and I also think the fact that he's got a brother who's as good and as famous as he is has a lot to do with him looking comfortable coming up because he's got a mentor right there. Also, the fact that he's been a number one prospect for a long time. He's got a lot of eyes on him. So guys like that, we see it in college football too. Guys like that sometimes can thrive and sometimes they don't, but a lot of them, like Joe Burrow when he came into the league and was like, everybody's like, well, how could you be so comfortable in the NFL? Well, I'm playing in front of 200,000 people down at LSU. I won a national championship. It's a little bit different when you're coming from Syracuse to here, but he is someone that people have been talking about for a long time, and he's got major league pedigree in his family. So it doesn't surprise me that he looks comfortable.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's going to stay comfortable. That's the thing, especially with the Lindor question mark and everything else. And it was nice to see Pete Alonso. Okay, he got up in a meeting. Great, fine. But you got to back it up. Now,
he did.
I know he did. I know he did. And this is his time to shine. If he wants to save his Mets career, and he wants to have a big contract, which I would want if I were in his place, and so would you, and so would everybody else, this is the time to shine, especially when the best player on the team is not in the lineup.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this. He's got the ability to carry the team if he just takes care of business, and when he gets up, let's just say, 2 out of 4 times you come through in a big spot, you're going to be a hero here.
Yeah, now, I'm going to ask you this question, and I really would like you to not say, why are you thinking negatively? Because I don't think I'm thinking negatively. I'm just asking a question.
All right. I'm not going to overreact.
All right, because I'm happy, too, this morning. I am. And this team meeting seems to have worked out. I'm glad Alonso got up there.
It's one game.
Right, now, I know. For last night. I'm glad Alonso got up there. But is it a little bit concerning that the general manager and the manager felt like they needed to talk to the team about Francisco Lindor being out? Like, that to me makes me think that they know that it's worse than they want to say, and they want to get the team in the right mind frame to not have him around. Because if it's really going to be just a couple of days or a couple of games,
why would they have the meeting?
Yeah, I just felt a little weird about that.
Yeah.
That's all.
I have to be honest, in all the years that I played in the NFL, never once did the general manager or team president ever call a meeting. That's never happened. Now, the coach has called for a meeting. Of course, you're meeting with them every single day, in this case, the manager. That to me kind of gives me an inclination that they were delivering bad news.
Yeah,
That's what I feel like. Okay, guys, look, here's the deal. Francisco may be gone for 10 days. We may not get him back until the playoffs, if we can make the playoffs. So you guys got to focus in, and we got to get to the playoffs so we can get Francisco back here.
I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Right. It's not negative, but it is. It's. I just think it's a inquisitive take on why David Stearns would call the meeting.
Yeah,
and I think you're spot on. I gotta give you credit on this one. It's not your negative. It's not being negative. It's just being inquisitive.
Yeah, I mean, it says so 3 people spoke. It was the president of baseball operations, the manager, and then Pete Alonso, who was supposed to be the guy who steps up when Francisco Lindor is not there. So and backs are weird, and I know that they said no structural damage, but obviously we've seen guys struggle with back issues and really be debilitating. So I don't know.
I'm just trying to think when he heard it, about was it 4 days ago this thing started?
It was Friday night.
It's Friday night, okay. Yeah, it's about 4 days ago.
Right. Okay.
Oh, man. That sucks.
I know.
I didn't even think of it the way that you just thought of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just so giddy with the way that they played the last 2 games.
You still can be, and maybe it's not anything.
And watching Acuna do what he did, although it could be an adventure in the field at shortstop, it could be.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and then you realize all the other things that Francisco Lindor does for this team, other than just the offensive numbers that everybody wants to point to. They forget that he plays defense too, and his defense is of paramount importance because of the position he plays.
Well, he'll probably end up playing second base. Obviously, we know that. Acuna.
Eventually. But I'm just saying,
but you're going to need him now to play shortstop.
And all it takes is one mistake in a game. Look, this kid is. I'm not worried about him. I mean, it's great to see guys like Vientos and Acuna and Alvarez Those are three guys that you're developing, or you traded for and developed, or, they're starting their young careers on your roster.
Well, I mean, that's sort of been the story of the resurgence with the Mets, is that it's sort of rotated who, other than Francisco Lindor, who's been consistent, it's sort of rotated who are the guys that are hot. I mean, Brandon Nimmo carried the team offensively for a very long time. Now he's in a slump.
But he's one of your guys.
Yeah, sure.
Pete Alonso is one of your guys. Francisco Alvarez, Mark Vientos, Acuna. I mean, you see these guys. These are all your guys.
Yep. Well, Acuna's now our guy for sure.
Well, they traded for him, but of course they got him when they got him, and now he has an opportunity. I mean, all I can tell you is that when you see the youth on this team, you got to be pretty excited for the future.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the way I was looking at this season from the beginning of it, was give the fan base some sort of hope for what's to come, but the way that this has gone now, it's like it's a why not us feeling, especially with as great as the starting pitching has been, which was a complete revelation for this group. So that's why, Lindor being essentially the MVP. I mean, you can argue about the 50-50 season. We're not going to do that today. Everybody else will do that. But who the MVP is, let's get real. This guy plays shortstop every single day. You take him off the team, God knows what the Mets are going to be, and that's why you just hope that he comes back and he's himself, because they can't go on a magical run without him. They can't.
All right, so it's September 18th. The season goes until September 29th. Okay, 11 days left.
Yeah.
This has got to be the this has got to be the push right here.
Well, yeah, of course. And they're 2 games up and tied with the Diamondbacks, so
and you got to win tonight. You got to win tonight. You got to take care of business tonight against the light hitting Nationals, and you just cannot lose this game tonight. You cannot fall flat. You got to just keep the pedal to the metal. And then there's 4 against the Phillies, 3 against the Braves, and then 3 against the Brewers.
Yeah, I mean that Braves series.
That's got to be the toughest schedule remaining for any team, I would think.
Well, yeah, I mean with 3 playoff teams. If the Braves were in it, but they're out right now.
Yeah, but the Braves are a rival.
Right,
that's a rival,
and
that's a series that's going to mean playoffs.
And they're chasing the Mets. Yeah, right. So I mean, this is just like they were in 2022.
And there's unfortunate history between those two teams,
just like they were in 2022.
Right. So it's interesting. You mentioned 2015 and the Mets and everything else. The last time the Jets beat the Patriots at home, I think, was 2015.
So the Jets beat the Patriots.
The Patriots have an 8-0 record. 8-0. No. At home. At Meadowlands.
Oh, wow.
New England is 8-0 in their last 8 games at the Meadowlands.
Yeah. I heard C-Mac, he's a stat pack guy now, too, I think, because he's been talking about this. First time since, or maybe it was Jerry. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. First time that the Jets were favored by more than 6 points over the Patriots since the Vinny Testaverde game in 1999.
Wow.
Since Tom Brady was,
Tom Brady
was in Michigan.
You have Brady and Belichick taking over in 2001. Well, Belichick before that, but
yeah.
Brady in 2001 with Belichick. I mean, they dominated the AFC East, and no team in the AFC East had any quarterback to speak of that could even remotely rival Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean,
all those years that Tom Brady dominated this division, and now this division is being dominated by Josh Allen.
Yep.
So this is the time where Aaron Rodgers has got to lead this team. Good news for the Jets, and this is really good news for the Jets. Their passing attack. Aaron Rodgers is getting rid of the ball in 2.4 seconds. That is the best in the NFL. So he is heeding your advice.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He heard me.
You said at the beginning of the year, you said, hey, he's got to play more like Tom Brady and less like the old Aaron Rodgers running around, because obviously we can see that the movement and mobility isn't what it used to be. And nor would we expect it to be, because of the injury that he came off of and because he's 40 years of age and he's having a blast playing at the age of 40. But he's got a lot of good young players around him. And as we said, experience, arm strength, and accuracy are the 3 things that he can dominate a game with, and that's what we've seen. And the other good news is that he's not holding on to it, so he's not taking the hits. So get rid of it in 2.4 seconds, and their pass rush or their pass protection rate is like 20%, which is the best in the NFL, meaning that he's got a clean pocket 80% of the time.
Yeah,
which is really, I mean, I think we all this is where the quarterback helps. Obviously, it's great to have a Hall of Famer in waiting, not only a quarterback, but at left tackle. It helps when they're playing well, but it's a 17-game season. They're older. They have had injury history. So this is a game where, when the Patriots come in Thursday night, they don't have an offense to speak of. Their wide receivers are frustrated. They're young. Nobody knows how good they are or how bad they. Nobody knows anything about them because it's really Hunter Henry and Ramondre Stevenson, the running back. But there is really no passing game to speak of when it comes to New England because they're playing so careful. They're afraid to turn the ball over, and Jacoby Brissett is just not taking any chances down the field.
And the Jets have to win this game.
They have to.
They have to. I mean, I'm
it's
sorry.
Like the Mets have to win tonight.
Yes, but it's more. The Mets have a little bit of a cushion here. The Jets can't lose these games to the Patriots now, with the way the pendulum is swung. No Brady, no Belichick. Aaron Rodgers is here. I'm sorry.
Jacoby Brissett.
That team,
an offensive line that's in a state of flux in New England.
And I know they won week 1 against the Bengals, and that was a shocker, but they had the lowest over-under win total of any team in the NFL, the New England Patriots, because of the way their roster was and the transition they're going through. It's
2 key turnovers by the Bengals that cost them that game, basically. They didn't get anything really out of their offense, and T. Higgins didn't play, and it was a different team last week against Kansas City. Like, for some reason, the Bengals, I don't know. They just take a while to get going, but when they get going, they're like a steamroller, especially on offense. But I don't know. This is a game Thursday night. If the Jet way to win is exactly what they did in Tennessee: quick strike passing, get rid of the ball, and then run the ball effectively like they have. And that's what they have to do offensively to play exactly the way they did in Tennessee. And they're going to win at least 10 to 11 games.